Welcome to Time Zones and Time Meters. This is Simon, however you want to pronounce it. We got Joshua, the prog wanderer. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Nice. We got a special one this time. We're going further on the nerd topic. We're doing our favorite game soundtracks, video game soundtracks. Um, there's not a lot of gaming coming from me lately. How about you, Josh?
No, I used to game when I was a teenager, primarily.
Yeah.
As a kid, I had a Game Boy. And then as a teenager, I did most of my gaming, early 20s as well. And then I've picked up a few games, in the last decade, but I just sort of play a little bit, and I don't know, I just don't think I can sit down for long periods of time anymore, unfortunately.
This is, of course, where um, it's very hard to separate the context to the music. It will have a lot of influence on the choices here. I mean, we picked out our five favorite video game soundtracks, and we had some honorable mentions as well. Um, that said, uh, yeah, let's just let's get to it. I think I nowadays video games is just not quite. It's just constructed in a way that is not as compelling to me. I really like when this is your adventure, go with that, and and you can finish it or whatever. But now it's always you download it, and maybe you have to pay in game instead of just here's your product. All right. Um, do you wanna go first? Well, you had one honorable mentions, or you had.
Oh, yeah. Look, I've look. There's lots of games that I've played over the years, and I'm sure there's many soundtracks in games where I would go like, "Oh God, that's right, that was a really good soundtrack." But just based on my memories, like I decided to pick one from different eras and different times, different consoles, and also different like types of music as well. Like I know that you and I both have a very sort of broad musical spectrum that we enjoy and we love. And for mine, I've deliberately tried to pick stuff that's all over the place. Um, and they are probably my favorite five, but they're also games that I think you cannot play without going, oh wow, the soundtrack's great. And so my honorable mention is actually Donkey Kong Country on Super Nintendo. I think this game was revolutionary in terms of the graphics that were pulled out at the time, and I also think the sounds. And so just the everything from the menu screens to the levels themselves, whether or not it's like that aquatic level, I remember that so vividly just because of the music itself. I think it really is a strong, it's just a really strong soundtrack, and I think it's worth mentioning.
I believe it's called aquatic ambience or something
Yep,
like that.
yep,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it is
and
too. Yeah.
that is a very like highly regarded video game sound, yeah, tune. Uh, and what it introduced me to a band called Papadosio. Papadosio, yeah.
Yeah.
Which because they covered it, and it's kind of like uh, I would put their music in the genre like acid elevator music, you know, with
Yeah.
like together with, let's say, um, surprise chef or um, ornithology, that genre of music.
Okay.
Uh, it's kind of like soft jazz, but it's a little bit out there. Uh, like absolutely my cup of tea. So funny that you mentioned it, and I got to talk about those bands as well. Um, but yeah, I also have some honorable mentions. I will just go through them quickly.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course,
please do.
Ocarina of Time is one of those. Half-Life 2, I think, has a pretty cool soundtrack. Metal Gear Solid has a lot of good stuff in it. Uh, Mass Effect, Uncharted. I think both of those have like great themes, but maybe not the depth. Age of Empires, GTA, of course, has a lot of good music on, but it's like they licensed everything. So then it's basically this, like saying radio can have good music. If you say GTA has
Yeah, yeah,
good
yeah.
music,
I was going to put
that's that.
I was going to put you know, the underground racing game as well. I was going to mention the same thing just because it had a really broad mix of sort of musical soundtrack, but I decided not to just because of exactly that reason. It's just got
Yeah,
some
yeah,
funky, cool stuff in the background. Need for Speed.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Need for Speed.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Um, what's your number five?
oh, so my number five is a weird one. I bought this game unbeknownst, like I think it was just in a discount bargain bin back on, I think it was on Xbox if I remember correctly. And the thing that just assaulted me from the very beginning was the introductory clip, and it just wowed me straight away. And so this is when someone says like good music in a game, I have to say this one. So this is Guilty Gear or X2. Yeah, it's a 2D fighting game, and look, it's no joke. Like the Guilty Gear franchise in general has stellar music. I mean, like stellar. It's like aggressive,
I've heard
creative.
of Guilty Gear.
Yeah, okay. So it's look, it's a really interesting, fast-paced, a bit quirky kind of a fighting game, really. It's sort of rock-based style, but incredibly out there and very sort of progressive. Each character has like a complementary theme tune, I guess, that goes along with them, like most 2D fighters and 3D fighters do as well. But this one, it's just look, it's really, really good music. And so I just have to put that in as my sort of number five that's up there. I thought of a lot of other like 2D fighting games or 3D fighting games because I was a big Street Fighter fan. And so, of course, like I love all of the nostalgia that comes along with it. But this is rock,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
really cool rock and metal, and I just think it kicks ass. So if you just checked out the songs in the background, you search for Guilty Gear X times two or X2, you'd probably have a blast just listening to it, even if you weren't playing the game.
Cool. I will check that out. I have as number five a pretty modern game, or like at least one of the last games that I played when I played a lot of video games there. The Last of Us.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah. This is a good choice. I didn't even think of it.
yeah, yeah.
Keep
With
going.
because of course you have Mr. Santo Lala playing like it's very mellow guitar work. Just think it's beautiful, just like the game. I think is beautiful, and like one of those last releases in video game world that really spoke to me, at least in like a triple A context.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, yeah. So that one I have to put on my favorite
it's a
soundtrack
that's
list.
a good choice. That's a good choice. I'll give you
Thanks, man.
five points for that one. I don't know what you're
Thanks.
going to do with the 5 points, but you get 5 points for it. I, I should
I will
probably
treasure that.
I should probably put in the special mentions as well. Now that I think about it, Soul Calibur and those games had a really fantastic thing as well. Another
Yeah,
fighting game, but anyway,
yeah.
that's in special mentions. Well, you know, my number four is Skies of Arcadia. Did you ever play it? It was an RPG, turn-based. It's about sort of pirates in, I guess, like a flying pirate ship, kind of steampunky kind of world. So that's Skies of Arcadia.
Yeah.
The music score was unbelievable. I did a quick Google search to find out like who put them up. It's Yutaka Minobe and Tatsuyuki Midea. I probably butchered their names, but those guys have done like a really really special job with this. It's a primarily like it's got a lot of exploration within the game itself, and you sort of fly around in an airship, and it has this continuing sort of background song, which is sort of adventure music. But depending on which origin, which place you go to, or which country, I guess you go to, it changes, and the instruments in the background change too, and it's really beautifully seamless. So if you go to like the jungles of this place, then then it's replaced with like bongo drum sounding things, or if you go to like a sort of more Middle East area, you've got Middle Eastern instruments, or sort of Asian stuff as well. And just that's one piece of music, that's constantly going on when you're flying around exploring, and it just evolves just freaking beautifully. And you don't even notice it until, I don't know when I noticed it. I just was like, oh my God. I think it was when it went to the Middle East, like it's above the desert and all of these other things. And I just was like, hold on a second. When did the music do this? But look, regardless, that it's got like a turn-based fighting system as well, and you have parties enter the, your sort of little, group, and you can pick and choose things. It's an epic story. I absolutely loved it. But the music itself is just next level. And it doesn't matter where you are. Like you'll walk out, if I remember correctly, there was this place, it was like in a little jungle area, or maybe it was a temple somewhere. And you sort of walk in, and all of a sudden you just met with the most like mysterious, cool music. And I remember it now, and I haven't played the game for like a long, long time. And so it's really weird. It's just got these iconic moments that are just filled, that are just so unique, and the music made the whole scene. And there's ship battles as well, so there's a turn-based ship battle thing, and so when you're like shooting other ships and doing this kind of stuff, like it has this really epic, grand sort of feeling as well. And so I don't know, I think it's excuse me, it's wonderful. So that's up there with one of my favorite games of all time, and the music is just great.
That the fact that you're with the technical or technological challenges when dealing with this music can really make for some great music. Just that you have some restrictions, and of course that's also an saying of sorts that limitations makes for creativity or something like that. And I think that is true in a lot of cases. And we just talked about Zelda with how you could only use 5 notes and you have to use these notes to create different melodies. I think that these limitations can really make for some great stuff sometimes.
Mm, mm.
Or restrictions in that case, or you just have to do something with how do I solve it that this melody had to seamlessly change
Yeah,
into
and
another,
sort of,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about this too, which was because this was released on Dreamcast, and not a lot of people that I know ever played the Dreamcast. It was like the flop console in many ways, but they really did push like technology. And so while everyone was still playing on PlayStations with 32-bit like consoles, this thing's like 128 or whatever it is. And the music specifically, what it could produce at the time was just cutting edge. And so
Yeah.
this was like really special on Dreamcast. And I know I got it later on. They've got another copy. I think it's on the like GameCube, like the Nintendo GameCube. They remade it, and the music to me is different. So even though it's the same sort of musical score, it's not as good. And so
Okay.
if I remember comparing it, like going back to them to work out the differences in the two games because I had both consoles, and like because I got this other one later on, and there you go. So anyway, I digress. What was your number four?
My number four is the indie breakthrough game Braid of no it was on one of the first indie games that was commercially successful. It was on Xbox Arcade, it was called, I believe, but later it also got released on PlayStation and these things. But so it's a kind of a puzzle platformer, which is very, very intelligent, like solution wise, but also, there's it's kind of a reference to Super Mario, but it's a slow game, it's
Mm,
very much a thinking game, and the music really fits that. It is licensed music, but it was of artists that were on a indie record label. So he really chose the soundtrack with care. There's four uh, artists that make this soundtrack. It's Jamie Sieber, Shira Kamen, Fulton, and Schatz. So, I mean, I have not heard of these artists before. It's like a lot of um, cello and guitar. It's kind of, well, it's mellow, minimalistic kind of music, but it's just beautiful, just beautiful melodies. Um, yeah, I think, yeah, you should just have a listen.
Yeah, I will
Maybe
for
I'm
sure.
selling it badly, but if you, it's very much, I would say, relaxing music. It's
Yeah.
very, yeah,
I was just like quickly did a wiki search while you were doing it, going like, have I played this game? I don't think I have at all. But there's some really like they say it's got a really beautiful and interesting soundscape, and they're
yeah,
also talking about how it kind of like perfectly matches the mood of the game, and so it's very sort of
yeah.
moody kind of thing as well. But yeah, this looks cool. This looks really cool, and you can.
But
It's
with the
got the
game, one of my favorite games. I also
yeah
did like
right.
a speed run of this game. On PlayStation, you even get a badge, or what do you call it, a achievement, if you speed run it, if you play it under, what is it, half an hour or something like that.
Okay.
And I think I've pushed that even further. Yeah, yeah. So absolutely one of my favorite games. I would advise anybody to play this.
Awesome. Awesome. That's cool. That's great. Um, okay, so should I jump to my next one?
Yeah,
Okay, so my next one is all about the music. You cannot play this game without two things coming to mind. The first is graphically what it looks like, because it's completely cel shaded and was one of the first games to really have that kind of sort of anime kind of cel shaded vibes. And the original game is called Jet Grind Radio. The franchise had like a later one called Jet Set Radio Future, which was like on the Xbox, but this one was released by Sega or on the Dreamcast as well, I think. But this game involves you play as, I guess, some like kids that rollerblade around the place, grinding and jumping and tricking and doing things and tagging. So like spray painting walls, and there's like turf wars that go on. It's a really like weird kind of game. But every single character has these big headphones on, and it's all about the music. And like the characters, every one of them throughout, whether or not it's dialogue and they're talking to each other, but they're all dancing. And so these skaters, these rollerbladers, are just dancing the whole time. And so the music's like really energetic, it's funky, it's freaking weird. And it's just got the most eclectic sound like palette. And the game is really just about eclectic music that's really groovy. It's kind of got blends of like hip hop and rock and dance music, and um, it's got like these jazzy songs at times as well. It was put together, I wrote down the name, Hideki Naganuma was the composer of a lot of the music and tracks on there. There are one or two tracks, if I remember correctly. It had like, Dragula by Rob Zombie, um, and like a few other sort of things that were in there as well. So it is an eclectic mix of music, but it's crazy. And look, some of these songs will drive you crazy for sure. Like they are crazy inducing sort of, repetition goes on, but it is just one of the wackiest and most fun games I've probably played, and also the music was just perfect for it. So I have added songs from Jack Grind Radio's soundtrack to like fitness classes and stuff that I've run for people in the past. It's something that I'll put on in the background. Even just there's a song called Humming the Bassline, which you can look up later, and just that in itself will just sit rent free in my head for days if I play it. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm positive it will be. So look, it's really catchy, it's really cool. And if you didn't play the original game, Jack Ryan Radio, the second one was good. Like the later releases did do some things better, and it is very similar in vibe. But I just think the original one had such a cool, funky
Jack Ryan.
jet, as in like plane, and then grind being like
Oh,
grinding on a
Jack
rail,
Ryan. Yeah,
and then
I thought you said
radio.
Jack Ryan, like protagonist of
No, 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 no,
this.
no.
What's it called in Hunt for Red October? Okay, Get a grind radio.
That's right.
Uh, let's see here. Cool. I will check that out. I never heard of it before, even though it sounds familiar with how it looks, at least.
Mm.
Um, so I put on my number three. I would say my positions are kind of interchangeable in this list.
Yeah.
I just had my favorites, but I did put Final Fantasy VII there. I think that Nobuo Uematsu, I think he's like a true composer. Like you know, um, I think it also bloomed with creativity with the restrictions of the techniques or of the technology.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly unbiased here because I didn't have the game at the time. This released in '97, I believe.
Mhm.
I did not have a PlayStation. I had the Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
And not until later, when it got ported to PlayStation 3, did I play this game. But I just think that some of the tunes in Final Fantasy VII are just phenomenal, and even though I didn't play it as a little kid, it still evokes all these emotions if I hear them. So yeah, I think that Final Fantasy VII, excellent soundtrack, and probably the peak of his composing career.
Yeah. I haven't played the game, but I do know of like stuff that I've watched specifically, which is on that music. This we're talking like 10 years ago. I would have been looking at the Final Fantasy just package because I'd never played the games, and so I was just curious about them. And I know that that was brought up specifically with Seven, and there's another one. Was it Nine or something? Had a really fantastic sound. I don't know. I can't remember which one it was. I didn't end up playing it neither, but I plan to eventually if I can, sit down for more than half an hour at a time. Um,
Yeah, of course, now they made like this huge remake of Final Fantasy VII. But I just don't have the time to
yeah,
do or at least I'm not giving myself the time to spend 100 hours in
yeah,
a
yeah. I
video game.
get you. I get you. So look, my second one, and I know we spoke about it previously as well, but I had to put Ocarina of Time in. It's just fantastic. And if you guys want to, hear more about what we think of Ocarina of Time, we both talked about this at length previously too. But it just has to be up there as far as I'm concerned. There he is, Link. I just think it's such a wonderful music score. There you go, the game. But this is it's just iconic. Brings back so much nostalgia for me. And I mentioned in the other thing as well, it's not just the songs that you play on the ocarina itself. It's just everything is just so immersive. Everything from all the way through to just the like walking into an area or when you die as well. The opening credit scenes, the everything in it, I think is just brings back such strong memories for me. So I have to put that up there as just they got it right. Yeah.
All right,
What did,
cool.
what have you got for yours next?
So this one is almost almost like a guilty pleasure, even when it comes to video game soundtracks or video games, maybe even. I put SimCity 3000 here.
Ooh.
Um, this is, I guess it's the same guy, Jerry Martin is his name, who composed music for also the other Sim games, like such as The Sims, which of course the biggest of these games. But I mean, I think he really made like this Gershwin sounding jazz soundtrack. It's not all jazz and it's not all Jerry Martin. There's also another composer, I believe. Um, but a lot of it is jazz, and I really, I just thoroughly enjoy it. Like probably this was a little bit a gateway drug to jazz for me. Even I really enjoy this. I also played this game a shitload when it came out in what did I now say, 99, I believe, something like that. Um, yeah, it's just an awesome soundtrack. Maybe it's different if you come from another standpoint. If you actually are a big Gershwin fan, then you just maybe just think that he's ripping off him. But if you're not, or just just try it out. I would say it's you know it's a cool soundtrack. Yeah,
I think
that's it.
I was going to say my all of these pieces of music, more often than not, you can find them on streaming or on YouTube anyway. So if any of you out there are kind of like not gamers and somehow stuck around for this part late in the episode, most of the soundtracks you can just sort of find in the background. And so I'd love to hear people's opinions, and there's some really different stuff between what you're saying and what I'm talking about too, which is kind of funky and cool too. But my number one here is, look, it's nearly I'm pretty positive I have to rate it number one. The Halo series, specifically number three, just has the best soundtrack. It's
Mhm.
unreal. Like, I love the Skies of Arcadia for its complexity and how thoughtful it was, but Halo 3, when I played that game for the first time after being a big Halo fan previously, just blew me away. And the sounds, the final like level, the opening credits with the guitar as it like, punches out the theme song. I don't think there's a musical score that's out there that is as cinematic as this is. And I think
Oh, cool.
anybody who is has played the game is aware of it. Like, it's and loves music and epic music specifically. It's good. It's just so good.
I saw that possibly my favorite guitar player of all time, Steve Vai, has made a Halo theme
Yeah, right.
thing.
You will have to send me a link to that, my friend, because I'd love to
Yeah,
check that
yeah,
out. Yeah.
yeah. All right. I'll
It's it's
curious
just
to. Yeah.
it's so good. The opening like Halo 3 soundtrack from the when we're talking about like the Gregorian chanting that just sort of rips into this like electric guitar moment is just like goosebump inspiring for me. So if
Is
I
is that the Gangnam theme or something like that?
pardon?
Is that the Gangnam theme or something like that? Gun.
Do you mean like Gundam? Do you mean like the mecha robot things? What are you talking? I don't know what you're talking about.
I believe that I believe the track that he plays at least is that, and
Oh, right, the
and that
name of
is
the track, right?
yeah, and I think it starts out with like Gregorian stuff
Yeah,
and turns into a guitar. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that would be it for sure. And it's, if I remember correctly, um, oh, I wrote it down. Hold on. Yeah, Martin O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore were the ones who did the orchestral arrangement of it, and they just took this. I think that because I played one and two a fair bit as well, it just kind of they used those themes that were already arranged, that were already kind of put there, and then they just like cranked it right up. So, you know, I just think it was amazing. I didn't get into many of the games after Halo 3, but like the Halo games, it started to lose me after that. But I played it competitively, like online for a while. So that's probably the last game I really truly geeked out to.
Oh, cool. I never had Xbox, so I haven't played any Halo, but I will check out the. Well, I will check out your recommendations, Josh. So this will be no different. Um, so obviously my number one will be on a different console, also kind of a more modern one. So for the PlayStation 3,
Yep.
um, Little Big Planet. Have you played it? Little
No.
Big Planet. All right. So there is original music on there, but there's also a lot of good licensed music, and it is special because there's a lot of these lesser known licensed music, and it's just like you were saying with your number five there, that if they're in the, if they're in the desert of South America, you will have, Latin music. If you're in uh, something that looks like China, you will have Asian music, and so on and so on. And so it's like it's a gold mine for world music. This
Yeah,
game,
yeah,
um, and it introduced me to a lot of good artists. So Cafe Tacuba, but you also have this more African vibe with Tunami Diabete. But also introduced me to Battles, Square Pusher. Um, Also, some stuff that I've heard before is on here. Röyksopp is featured. Of course, Richard Strauss with so sprach Zarathustra. It's um, actually they had there's some instrumental Nightwish on there. Skinny Pop is on there. This a very broad area, and also the original music is great as well. I think I would have to put this one as number one, but they're pretty much interchangeable, my selections here. But that's it is at least a great soundtrack, this one, and I can recommend it to anybody that has a little bit of a wide broad music taste. Great,
yeah,
great, especially great for world music.
yeah. That's cool. That's great. I'm very interested in that too. So I'll definitely be checking out
Great
most of your
game to
stuff, I
play.
think. Yeah, cool. It looks like it's like a 2D platformer or something, is it?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, right. Oh, cool. Awesome. Well, look, there's so many other ones. I mean, I'm sure, you know, there's so many other games that I've played over the years that I really enjoyed and thought were cool. But I think these ones that I picked here are just incredibly iconic. They're very diverse as well. You've got like some real different kinds of music in my one, so I was pretty thoughtful in terms of what I wanted to put out there. But I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that there's something for kind of everybody. And as
Well,
far
I
as
had a little bit of maybe it's not true, but I felt a little bit like there was. I always talk about the '70s music-wise, right? That it was such a cool time for music where experimentation even was like getting a lot of recognition from the mainstream audience. Like
Mhm.
it was the standard to make experimental to break new barriers musically. And then I think like, damn it, I was born in the wrong century,
Yeah,
but then I'm thinking like, what is that thing of our time? And then I'm because the commercial music nowadays is not worth anything, I think. And it's like it's just not as much emphasis on it, even when we were young. But I think that video games is maybe the pop culture peak of our time, because also video games of today just do not have the same you know originality, or um, it is so over flooded with the commercial standpoint,
hmm,
and that it does not have the you know
yeah.
there's a
I do kind of know what you mean in terms of like gaming and stuff. I just really struggle with anything that seems contemporary, and I've bought a few games, that I've found on discount, which have been regarded as some of the best games sort of made. Whether or not it's your Red Dead Redemption 2s and your like, there was Ghost as well, which is the like samurai game and stuff, and they're cool. Like I got into them a bit. What was that?
I was trying to figure out what the name of that
Oh
Ghost
yeah,
or something like that.
yeah, right. And so that is like, and I played them a little bit, but and even those games, which is meant to have these amazing driving, plot lines, amazing, musical scores as well. They just came so highly recommended, but there's no comparison to me in terms of just going back 2 decades and finding, whether or not it was, or 3 decades going back to a Zelda, or whatever it is. It's just different now.
Yeah,
And
well, and I think it was evolving
yeah.
very fast. Like it kind of has plateaued.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and I guess there's only so many things you can do, but I don't know. Like, I mean, I enjoyed
and
the
it's saturated.
Fallouts. I enjoyed the Fallout games, and a bunch of other stuff too. And I've always been a huge like Marvel versus Capcom, like the arcade 2D fighter stuff. I've always loved those fast-paced 2Ds sort of fighters. But I don't know, even now, like when I look back at everything, give me the very first Mario Kart, give me the Perfect Dark. GoldenEye, if you're after the shooters. Halo 3 was the epitome for me in competitive, sort of like it was such a great game for competitive multiplayer online gaming. I don't know, and then you've got these really funky, unique stuff like Jet Grind Radio. Skies of Arcadia was an amazing RPG. Zelda, obviously, too. Probably even like Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls stuff that was done by Bethesda. They're pretty amazing as well. But I don't know. Like I just sort of start to peter off nowadays. Maybe we're just getting old. Maybe it's the grey in the
Well, it could
beard.
be that as well. And of course, there's good stuff being done, just like there's good music. But I think that like in the main, peak, the peak is kind of over. Where I think there was an important period for video games.
Mm,
At least,
mm.
yeah.
All right.
Creatively, there was more. Yeah.
Yeah, and it could also be that just maybe what's mainstream, a little bit like with music as well. I mean, there's so
Yeah.
much great stuff that's being released right now that's just not mainstream. And maybe it's
Yeah.
just the mainstream gaming world is just not as cool as some of the indie stuff that's out there, and I don't have access to it. I don't see it. I don't, go looking for it. And maybe that's what I should spend some time doing.
I do think that is it because if you want a big production nowadays, and it's the same thing with movies, then it has to be so much money put in there, and or they just cannot take a chance with a novel concept.
Mm,
So, or if they do, they just had to test it in absurdum. Uh, so it will all be very streamlined, whereas the productions were way smaller a couple of decades ago, so you could actually have some risks there. Yeah,
yeah, because some of the development teams are quite small on these projects. I think if I remember correctly, Jack Ryan Radio had 25 people or something, if I remember
right.
correctly, that made it. And the thing is it was everybody who was in the development team, except for the manager, I think was under 25.
Okay, yeah,
And so that's
yeah,
why it's got this eclectic, high energy, like weird ass music, like crazy cell shaded stuff that went on too. So
cool.
so look, anyway, I'd be very interested to hear what other people have to think as well. Maybe there's some gamers out there that find our channel instead of progressive music people, and you guys can let us know that we're crazy and there's some better stuff out there. But for you prog heads, if you are around and you do love your gaming, I'd love to hear from you guys too. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, Simon. That was a lot of fun. That was really cool. It's making me want to like pull out the old consoles, see if they still work, and give it a go. So
Totally,
maybe I
totally.
might do that next time I have a little break. But yeah, that's right. Oh, I miss those days. I really do. I still have my Super Nintendo as well. So I've got my Super Nintendo, my Nintendo 64. I should have my Dreamcast around, although that didn't, it was really sketchy at one stage. I've got a GameCube, original Xbox, Xbox 360 is now busted. I lent that to someone and it was destroyed. But I do have, oh no, that's right, I do have access to one. I bought one for my brother. It's a long story. What else? Yeah, and a PS3, no, PS4, not PS3. That's what I've got. So that's still 8 consoles plus a Game Boy, the Game Boys of old. What have you got?
Yeah, cool. I got a bunch of consoles as well. I got the Wii U. I got the Nintendo 64, obviously. Switch. I do have. I have PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. I think those are the things that work. I could possibly have a PSP
Oh
somewhere.
yeah,
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 yeah. I think those are the things that for sure work. And I've had different stuffs as well. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, let's leave it there. Let's say goodbye to everyone. Peace out. Thanks for joining us, and I guess we'll see you guys next week. What do we got next week? Do you remember?
That's a good question. It's not Ebola time yet.
I don't think so. Although I'm
Oh,
close.
I think we need to figure out exactly what the topic has to be. Like when is it good? When is it progressive wanking? Something like that.
Oh yeah, the yeah. When is it musical masturbation? I think was the idea.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
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 When is it you being a virtuoso, and when is it just like playing with yourself in front of everybody? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we've got that topic to cover. We'll need to wrap up the month in a week or two as well. So we got a fair bit of stuff coming up, I guess, which is going to be worth checking out. So yeah, you can look forward to catching up with
The
us soon, guys.
subscribe button.
Please, please, please do. Otherwise, peace.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.